Moi, j'avais pas encore fait de main jusqu'ici et je m'attendais pas à ce qu'on me file ce personnage-là.
That was like a super big challenge. So in the video game, Warwick is a very popular character. And in Arcane, that's Vander, Jinx and Vi's dad, who died in season 1 and got rescued by Singe, who turned him into this very chimeric character. He took like a couple of art from a beast and put it in Vander to create Warwick.
Le design a été long, mais on a notre designer Alexandre Magoubi qui nous a fait un très très beau travail.
Il faut effectivement que ça plaise aux fans, mais il faut aussi satisfaire les réals de chez nous qui, eux, ont des besoins narratifs. On raconte une histoire. Les trucs importants qu'il fallait qu'on garde pour le design, c'est un gros bras droit avec de la mécanique dessus, des fioles de Chemtech, des griffes, et c'est à loup-garou. En essayant de trouver un moyen dans le design de pouvoir ramener Vander, et ça joue sur le visage et beaucoup sur les yeux, en fait.
Le tout, c'était de construire un Warwick autour du regard de Vander et d'essayer de encore le capter derrière.
Voilà le bestiau. Il y a 65 jours de modé là-dessus. Mais c'est tout fait à la main. C'est un perso compliqué, il ressemble pas aux autres. Rien que la pose, il est un peu voûté comme ça. Il faut qu'il puisse fermer la bouche, que ça puisse remonter. En fait, c'est assez compliqué.
À la base, moi, je le reçois comme ça, sans couleur, sans rien. Moi, je commence par structurer un peu mes volumes comme ça. Chaque partie, indépendamment, peut être sélectionnée. Et on en arrive à ça au bout de 60 jours.
Qui dit fourrure dit du poil sur tout le corps. Du coup, il a fallu qu'on trouve un moyen pour tricher. Ce qu'on a fait, c'est vraiment un mélange entre la texture et les poils. Nous, on est venu modéliser tous les poils un par un. Sur les pattes, finalement, on n'a pas mis de fourrure. C'est simplement de la texture. Quand on zoome, on voit pratiquement aucune différence entre ce qui est en texture et les vrais poils qu'on fait ici.
The idea is to have something to be inside the head of Warwick, to find a sound very strong.
He's suffering a lot from all the experiment from Singed. All these aspects make him look very chaotic and wild and crazy, and he's bouncing around. He's pretty hardcore and fast and violent. It's such a fun character to work with.
Warwick, la particularité, c'est que on est entre deux, on est ni bipède ni quadrupède. Il va courir à quatre pattes, il va jumper à quatre pattes, etc. Puis la masse du corps, les proportions. Il a fallu mettre ça en scène. Est-ce qu'il y a de la douleur? Quel est le conflit intérieur entre l'homme et la bête? Tu vois, là, il a tapé des... Il y a plus de profondeur que ça dans ce personnage au final. C'est ça qui est excitant en fait. Warwick était un défi pour tous les départements.
Les gens vont avoir les larmes aux yeux quand Vander reprend le contrôle et il se rend compte qu'il est face à Jinx et bah...
J'en ai encore la chair de poule à chaque fois que je la regarde.
Hi, it's Katie here. I play Caitlyn Kieran.
Hi, I'm Harry Lloyd. I play Viktor in Arcane.
My name's Blanc. I play Vander.
I am here to answer a couple of your questions for the Arcane Faniversary.
I'll let you into a secret. It's probably my favorite project I've ever worked on. But shh, don't tell anyone. Most cons, there's a lot of eyes and a lot of powders and a lot of Vanders. At one convention recently, I had a guy come up, because they do the makeup like it's done in the show. They have dark shadows down the side of them. And he had a Vander wig on, and he was wearing a t-shirt. And the t-shirt said, JB, ? JB? JB not. And I thought that was really clever. So I get drawings of Vander, I get pictures of me combined with Vander that look a bit like me, a bit like Vander. I get a lot of these, which is little Vander bracelets that say Vander on them.
It means a lot to me when people who are dressed as Caitlyn, who have spent so much time on their costumes, you know, making their like 3D guns. And also when they tell me they met their partner through like the Arcane community, and then they cosplay together and their partner is dressed as Vi and they're dressed as Caitlyn.
Viktor means a lot to a lot of people, and for very different reasons, actually. There's elements of his character and his story which touches on a lot of important kind of issues, and I think a lot of people really relate to him and find strength in him. He's one of my favorite characters I ever got to play. So again, when I get to interact with a fan about it, I'm very happy to engage because I'm a fan too.
Take care about her. So I found out quite early on that Vander was going to survive because I got a cheeky nod from Christian and Alec, and I was sworn to secrecy. But then it kind of made me laugh, because then as soon as you looked at any message board on the internet, it was rife with rumors about Vander becoming Warwick. And there was a kind of clue at the end of season 1. And then I sort of said to the boys, what are you going to do with Warwick in season 2? And Christian looked at me and he said, oh, we're going to break their effing hearts.
What are you waiting for? He's your dad too.
I am a decorated officer, leader of House Kiraman.
Caitlyn, who she becomes, the kind of darkness that consumes her, and also her costumes, what she wears when she becomes a general. I was just really excited to play a side of her that we hadn't seen before.
I really desperately wanted to talk about the scale of Viktor's role in season 2 and how he ends and saves the universe at the same time. But frankly, that's quite difficult to explain anyway, without the proper context. So just the fact that I was in season 2 was hard enough to keep a lid on. And yes, I did struggle, but I managed it.
People often ask, how did you get into that emotional connection? And for me, it was really very easy because it was about my daughter.
What's the point if we can't raise an ankle biter or two?
I take my fatherhood very seriously, and I'm the single dad of a neurodivergent kid. I don't know if anyone's ready to be a father. I don't think Vander was at all ready to be a father, but he was just thrust into this situation. You need a big heart in life, and I think he was just a big heart. I love the idea of having someone who's kind of dealt with violence and then come back from that and decided on a different approach to life.
Viktor.
So in season 2, as Viktor becomes less human, arguably, I just got a lot more involved with all the rest of the Viktor team. There was a real nice collaboration. If he's going to be looking like this, how should he be sounding? It was really fun talking to all the different kind of departments about kind of where he's at in his soul, I suppose, and then knowing all the hardware will be added later.
What greater cause is there than returning peace to this city?
Why is peace always the justification for violence?
Caitlyn, she's quite a divisive character. Of course, I'm always going to be on her side. The fact that, we had been through season 1, I knew her a bit more, what kind of journey she was going on, what she'd been through. I definitely think there were a couple of things that she did was questionable. But it was obviously from a place of fear, trying to avenge her mother's death. But she did find her moral compass in the end. Meanwhile, Vi was kind of like a distraction.
Don't sugarcoat it, cupcake.
Falling in love with Vi has never been difficult, yeah. I'm just really honoured and privileged to be one half of such a power couple.
Jace? Viktor, you're alive.
Jace is this one contemporary of his that who can match him, who can meet him, who is interested in dealing with in the real world.
I thought I could bring an end to the world's suffering.
The big twist about him being the rune giver, which for me was my favorite kind of thing that closes the whole circle. I think it's this wonderful kind of prism. The whole relationship is this kind of pattern, and it's a circle and it's complete.
The emotional content of the animation was, I think, something that blew me away, because you don't see that and you don't expect it. How Fortiche got every little nuance, every eye twitch. When you're doing these scenes, you have a kind of preview, an animatic that they kind of play for you. And it's kind of sketch lines and blocky and kind of, shifts around and stuff. I've never worked on an animated series where I've previewed scenes and at the end of it realized that I had tears rolling down my face just from the animatic. Vander, I knew, was kind of the emotional rock at the beginning. That's what keys off those girls' relationships and their journey. It's finding that emotional connection and finding bits of you that come into that story that's the exciting journey.
I found some of season 2 unbearably moving. I found Isha incredibly moving. Echo and Powder. The inner world of Jinx in general, I find quite shocking and disturbing and fascinating. It's also just as a dad, these kids, they're so young and they're dealing with so much and they're so brave.
What moved me the most about season 2 that I wasn't expecting was probably the resolve between her and Jinx. When they have their moment together in the prison and Caitlyn comes to the realization that hating Jinx, she hated herself. And having that self-awareness, I think, is a step in the right direction.
The bits that I love are my pep talk with Vi about being a leader. And I probably write the phrase, "You've got a good heart, don't ever lose it," on 1 million photographs a year.
My favourite part of playing Caitlyn was being able to portray a woman who is complex, smart, vulnerable, beautiful, tall.
And I've never said this about anything else I've done before. One of my favorite parts of playing it was watching it. You work in such isolation. I'd seen pencil sketches, I'd seen different kind of bits and schematics. In that first scene when he sees Jace and he's this kind of detached kind of person, Bill, who voices Huck, had already done his lines when Viktor is talking through Huck in that season 2 sequence.
Would you want to speak with him? Jace, I'd feared I wouldn't have the chance to speak with you again.
But it kind of copied the Viktor intonation and kind of done our Huck version of Viktor already, and then I had to kind of match someone else matching me, and knowing that they were going to blend it later and the effect that you got eventually. The detail in which you're asked to engage and interplay is wonderful. To see the finale for the first time properly in the theatre in LA when it came out for season 2, with thousands of people with red and blue hair screaming, it was kind of an enormous kind of catharsis for a 10-year journey. I mean, both my kids have been born during Arcane.
To be sat in, a big theatre space with the fans, with, the actors and the makers of the show, with an amazing sound system. It was so emotional, thinking about it makes me a bit teary, actually.
The reception to Arcane has been, as it should be, rapturous. I can see it very objectively, that it's a masterpiece. And I think there are masterpieces that go unnoticed these days, and this one has not gone unnoticed.
The power of being an actor is if you made people feel something. This made people feel a lot of feelings. A lot of feelings in the Arcane.
To all the Arcane fans, thank you so much for your dedication. Oh my God.
If I could say anything to Arcane fans now, I'd say congratulations. You're clearly quite an intelligent person and you have great taste.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for still enjoying the show.
Yeah, we love you.
I think the first version of the Vi and Powder scene in episode 103, when that was starting to come together, when we had that amazing performance from Mia for Powder, and the acting, the animation started to come in, and I think that was the first time we really knew for sure, oh wow, we can pull off this very ambitious vision that we had.
It was getting to see the finale in a theater of 4,000 people and getting to the final intimate moment between Caitlyn and Vi that everyone had waited 3 years to see, and realizing that was the thing people cheered loudest for, a deafening roar of cheers in a theater for this same-sex love scene. And I'd never seen that before, and the support and joy that other people felt watching that almost made me cry. And knowing that people care that much about a scene like that means hopefully we'll get to tell more stories like that. And that will make people like my 16-year-old self feel way more seen in the world.
Alors, mon premier visionnage, même si j'ai vu la série un nombre de fois incalculable, mais je crois que c'était le storyboard final de l'épisode 3, où je me suis dit que l'émotion était au rendez-vous et que ça allait marquer plein de gens. Alors, c'est principalement cette scène où le Powder devient Jinx et où Silco embrasse sa nouvelle fille. Je trouvais juste que la musique thème qu'on avait mis et tout, et l'émotion était là, quoi. C'était vraiment un très bon souvenir.
The way that Arcane has deepened the world of Runeterra and sort of just made it feel so big and so deep and so real through so many different elements of the show in terms of making Zahn and Piltover feel huge, and then the world feeling huge, and tying in so many elements of why players are so connected to so many characters in League so well, like, in Vander being Warwick, and, just the incredible execution of Jace and Viktor and their relationship, and Noxus, becoming such a impactful force that impacts like the geopolitics of Runeterra in such a compelling way. That, was just incredibly impactful.
One of my absolute favorite moments and favorite scenes is actually in season 2, episode 2, the very beginning, the montage to Marcus King's Sucker with sort of Jinx's intro. And I absolutely love our musical montages. I love the freedom that animation gives us to sort of play around in that way. And I think that there are so many moments in that montage that captured Jinx's personality to a T, and I think it's one of the most fun moments in the show.
À faire vivre ces personnages. Forcément nos deux héroïnes, Vi et Jinx, mais tous les autres. Et de les avoir rendus humains, de les avoir rendus vivants, c'était le vrai challenge. Et c'est pour ça que je choisirais tous les personnages.
The thing I want to say to the Arcane community is just thank you. The support and love that you've all shown for the show has meant so much to everybody at Riot. We're incredibly grateful for the love and support everybody has shown, and we hope to continue to do justice to the high expectations you have with other things we hope to deliver in the future.
If I could say one thing to the Arcane community, it's thank you. This has been like a project that has come out of pure passion, and you guys have met all of our passion with your own in a way that we could have never imagined. And that gives us fuel. That makes it worth it to focus on every little detail, because you guys catch all of them and you run with them in ways that inspire us. And so it's incredible to have you all on this journey with us, and it's been so much fun, and thanks for letting us do this.
Je suis pas très réseaux sociaux, mais au moment de la sortie d'Arcane, je regardais beaucoup les réseaux sociaux. J'étais très ému par les réactions de la communauté, et je me faisais des petits screenshots. Et il y a un screenshot qui parle de la communauté que j'ai trouvé super chouette, où c'est, je vais le dire en anglais puis je vais le traduire, c'est Before I drop off socials, until I watch and finish Arcane, I just want to say how much love I have for this fandom. I have never been this active in a fandom before, and it has been such a joy. I have spent every day this week reading all of your thoughts, theories, opinions, jokes, memes, hot takes, and I've loved all of it. I was there when Act 1 of Season 1 dropped, and now we're all here for Act 3 of Season 2. I'm so glad we have this show. I'll see you again in a post-Arcane world.
I would say thank you for your passion. I would say thank you for your art. Thank you for how much care and thought and love you've put into a discussion about the show, and adding your own selves and creativity and art to the fandom. I mean, it's amazing to see. Thank you.
Mon message pour la communauté et les fans d'Arcane, c'est merci, c'est vous qui me donnez de l'énergie.
Merci d'avoir été aussi fou que nous, parce que on a été un peu fou à vouloir faire ce projet-là. On a passé énormément de temps sur des détails à tel point qu'on se demandait si parfois ça en valait la peine. Et quand on voit la réaction des gens qui justement s'aperçoivent du moindre petit détail et l'apprécient, vous ne savez pas à quel point c'est important pour nous. Donc voilà, je dirais merci d'être aussi pour nous.
When we were working on the first season, for years and years and years, it's just a theory. You don't know people will show up if you got the characters right, if all those things, it's just a theory. And so seeing the reactions and how much people care, that's why you then kind of work every day. And it gives you like a quality bar that you want to really respect. So yeah, it's really just that. Thank you for showing up and for kind of sustaining that passion. And that's what we are here now, where we get to do more of it and we can tell more stories because, there was an audience that said, yes, we like this, we want more. So thank you.